Well, there's a big craze right now going on in gardening, and that's the vegetable gardening. And I'm here with Jack from Al's Garden and Home. And Jack, you've been gardening for a lot of years now, haven't you?
Yeah, nigh on 60 years, yes.
And now we hear a lot about victory gardens. And so what can you tell us about victory gardens?
Well, understand, I was born in 41, so I was 5 years old when the war was over. But my folks had a victory garden. Their parents had a victory garden. My wife and I were talking about it. Her folks had a victory garden, and everyone had a victory garden. And I just read some figures somewhere the other day where half of the farm produce produced during the war was produced in victory gardens across the United States. I think that fact is fairly close to true.
Yeah, it's a craze that's been around for a lot of years, and we're finally seeing this resurgence of it now. So what are things, with gardenings have changed and people's landscapes have changed? What are some of the trends now that people can use for vegetable gardening?
Well, most everybody's into raised beds now. Of course, I've always farmed out in the open field because I've had enough ground. But the amount that you can produce in raised bed is absolutely astronomical. If you sit down and keep track of what you're producing, you'll be just blown away at what you can come up with. It's amazing.
Yeah, and as people's yards are getting a little bit smaller and they don't have the acreage to plant, are there, some vegetables that are better for doing in raised beds than others?
Oh, sure. If you get into your determinate varieties of tomatoes, the vines grow smaller, but the tonnage of fruit is almost the same. There's just an awful lot of all of your lettuces. You can plant those every 4 weeks and just keep them coming fresh all summer long. There's just a lot of things. Onions, they take up no room hardly at all. Easy done. For every seed potato you put in the ground, you're going to get 20-fold back. Anything like that. And once you start eating this material, you're going to be spoiled. It's going to be hard to go back to the grocery store because fresh, homegrown is unbeatable. So once you get started, you're going to be hooked.
Now, for the novice gardener that's just starting to get into doing this, what are some things that they might need to get their garden so they can be successful as far as like materials and some of the care they might need?
Well, if you have the raised bed already, get it cleaned up, get all the weeds out of it, all the grasses, haul it away, get it all cleaned up and cleaned. Fertilize the whole thing with good, slow release organic. Watch out where you're planting the tomatoes. Don't fertilize that near as much as you do everything else because tomatoes grow too much vine and therefore it shades the fruit and they ripen later. So you want a little tomato plant with a lot of fruit on it. So everywhere else, put a good coat of fertilizer down, homogenize it, till it into the soil, mix it up good. Start planting. You're home free. That's all it takes.
Because there's lots of different vegetables that you can plant, during different times of the year. Some do better earlier season, and there are summer ones, and then even fall crops, right?
Right. We call most of those cold crops. Your cabbages, cauliflowers, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. We'll plant all of those in July and start harvesting in late September, October, and many of them will carry right into the winter. And if you get a mild winter like we had this year, you'll still be picking them in April and March. So those are called fall crops. You can also plant those earlier, but maybe you want to put your space to something else earlier. And then as you take out radishes or carrots or something else, put down the fall crop material.
Right.
And rotation that way.
And right now, we're kind of on that cusp where we're getting, past the end of these frost dates. Is there anything that we need to be concerned about planting now that it's not too warm out to plant?
Well, the only thing you might want to hold off on is peppers, because peppers if they get chilled, they'd rather grow down instead of grow up. So I would wait to the 15th of May for peppers, but everything else, normally we consider the 1st of May the last frost date. And the way things are going this year, I'd suggest you could get started now and just get a 2-week jump on it.
And now you guys have an amazing selection there at your stores of all the various different starts, the seeds, all the materials, the soils, the fertilizers that you'll need for being successful. And your staff is going to be able to help you with that because they're with all the knowledge. So if you have customers coming in, I'm assuming your staff will be able to do that. And you right now have probably a little different hours going on and a little different protocols that you'll have posted up on your website, right?
Yes, we're doing the social spacing and all of that. But remember, our spring is 3 weeks early this year, and you didn't tell us in January that you were going to do this virus thing and give me an early spring too.
Right. So people can put together the list of the things they're looking for, their wants and their needs in their vegetable garden, and the knowledgeable staff at Al's will help you plan out your garden beds to make you successful. And as always, make sure you check your website for any new changes and the protocols, or you can check over to gardentime.tv and we'll click you over to their website. So Jack, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. We appreciate all your knowledge and your information, and we look forward to seeing you in the garden. Thank you.
Brian, thanks for coming on with us.